Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison. Katie Brenner today is my guest, and Katie has a real journey into hair. Not that the rest of us don't, but every now and then I'll come across a stylist whose journey was just a tad or two harder than most of us, and Katie is definitely one of them. To hear how she persevered as a teenager who was emancipated at age 16, that was so inspiring. If there's ever a person you could apply that cliche, my rough upbringing is what made me who I am today to, I would say that would be Katie. And those are her words. You'll hear her share her story. It's just amazing. She was just dealt a bad hand with her upbringing, but she has gone on to become a wife, a great mom, an amazing, just her career is insane. She caught a great husband, which us girlies we just love that kind. We love that as girls, I should say. She's a brand ambassador at the highest level, and her career supports her entire family, which on top of all of that, she's wildly talented. So I would say she would be a must-watch for anyone who struggles with confidence or just poor circumstances. The way she was able to curate a road into hairdressing by working her ass off, and now every seed she planted has grown into a field of beautiful flowers, and I just love giving people their flowers. So I love her story so much, and also love that she refers to her clients as her hair dolls. That's so cute. Oh, and she also mentioned a company called Unicorn Uprising, which I thought was interesting because little did I know brands steal content from stylists, and this company created a way to market and brand your things that you use, like your capes, your towels, what have you, and your reels, so that the credit goes to you. So I'm going to put the company information in the show notes. Just a little bit about me. My birthday was this past weekend. It was on Good Friday, the 18th, and it was kind of mellow compared to past birthdays, where I'm hanging out with my friends and we're in some exotic location, drinking and partying and having fun. It was an easy choice this year, though, because I've cut way back on drinking, almost down to not drinking at all. I say almost, though, because I'm careful not to say I've stopped drinking, because people hang on to that and they'll call you out the minute they see you take one sip of alcohol. And it's not that I had a problem in that I couldn't stop drinking. I was more of a 2-drink, 3-drink, and way more than that on vacation type person. But I would say I just don't have to drink anymore under any circumstance, if that makes any sense. And I'm proud of me for doing that, because my son struggles with addiction, and I just want to stand as close to him as I can in my own sobriety, because we can't expect our kids to do something that we can't do ourselves. Anywho, I am off to a show this week, Trends 2025, hosted by Behind the Chair. I am taking my niece with me, and one thing to circle back to with my birthday, the reason I brought it up in the first place, every year I try to be a better version of myself in some way, and this year I decided I'm going to conquer my fear of drowning, because I never forgot to learn how to swim. I mean, my mom, it was her fear, not mine, but I've carried it around my whole life, and I'm over it. I want to have fun on my vacations. I don't want to be afraid to fly over water. I'm not afraid to get in the water, but if my feet aren't touching the ground, that's basically standing, not swimming. So, I'm going to conquer that fear. I've got some amazing trips coming up this summer, which all include water. One this weekend, because right after the Miami show, which is in... well, obviously, I just said Miami, but my husband's going to fly up at the end and take me to Turks and Caicos for my birthday. So I need to learn how to swim, y'all. I just do. Anyway, it is not about me. It is about Miss Katie Brenner today. If you guys like what I'm doing, if you hate what I'm doing, I don't care. I need you to subscribe, like, comment, review. If you're listening on the podcast, just anything that you say. And all of those actions I just mentioned, they support the show, and I want to bring you more guests, and I just want to see this show grow. Alrighty, you guys, enjoy the show.
Hi, my name is Katie Brenner, also known as Katie B Hair. I am Global Artistic Director for Rusk Hair Care, and I'm Artistic Director for Christian Michael. And today you are watching me here on Trendy with Kim Allison.
Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison, you guys. I'm sitting down with the incredibly talented Katie Brenner, Global Artistic Director for Rusk Hair Care, Artistic Director for Christian Michael Hair Extensions, and a 39-time BTC one-shot nominee. Craziness. Love it. She's a published award-winning stylist whose work spans everything from balayage to bold creative color extensions and editorial masterpieces. We're about to dive into her journey, you guys. So let's get inspired. Katie, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me here today.
Oh, no. Thank you for being here because your life is crazy busy. So we're just going to jump right into it. I have tons of questions, and you are my first guest where I get to introduce my new cue cards.
Love it. Oh, those are
Love
cute.
It. Thank you.
Super
and so,
cute.
Yeah, normally I have this piece of paper. It's sliding down. I get lost in the questions. So this is going to be good.
Love it.
All righty. So the name of your salon is The Branded Salon. Is that the name of your salon?
My salon is Katie B Hair.
Oh, Katie B Hair. That's the name of your salon. Okay, because I did a deep dive on your website, and I don't know why I saw the branded salon.
So the branded salon it's a brand that I work with. I work with tons of brands, and that one pops up because it adds salon into my bio. So that's how it came up for you.
Oh, I love it. Perfect. All right, Katie. And you have merch.
I do.
So let's talk about that before we get into learning all about your journey, because I have so many questions, like I said. So when I looked at your website, I saw Unicorn Uprising, social media coaching, branding company, pop-ups, and e-commerce store. Please tell us about these amazing things.
So it's one of the coolest things I've paired with. So her name is Sydney, and she is the owner of Unicorn Uprising and Branded Salon. And what they have created is a platform for stylists like myself and for salons to be able to brand them. And that's where it started. Is a lot of accounts, brands take our content that we create and that we put out there, and we don't get any credit for it. So with their sort of stuff, if you look at the capes and you see me filming from the back, you'll always see Katie B Hair. They've also created towels. When the towel's up in a client's head, you can have your salon's name. Your mat can have your salon's name. They're making sure that you can be branded when you're creating your content to make sure that you're covered. And so then they came to me with that, and they decided to create merch with me, and they create merch with big content creators or even stylists for great foundations. They created merch to raise funds for the fires that happened out in California. Any sort of thing that they're into, they will help raise funds for. And so with my merch, they came to me and I created Bleach Please. And then I have hair dolls because I call all my clients my hair dolls. And so I just launched that. It was a 10-day drop. So it opens up for 10 days. And then after it's done, it's done. So the launch happened. It was great. It was exciting. I'm looking forward to doing another one with them because it was successful, and working with them is awesome.
Where did that launch take place?
So it happened on social media. And it was an e-commerce pop-up, like a pop-up store, essentially. Yeah.
But it lives where? On Instagram, YouTube? Where does it live on social media?
So it lives on, and that's probably why you saw it, is the Unicorn Uprising. So if like you click on my bio, that'll take you to like the branded salon, and it has like all of the tools and everything I use on there that you can buy. And then it had my merch. Now my merch is done since the launch.
Sure.
Yep.
And I think that's so smart because now when you get these remix videos, now, especially where you can pop up in the video, just your face. Well, now you have like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
It's been used over and over again. So that's a clever idea, little gap in the market to brand the stylist, so that their content stays
It's
unique
the
to them, or we know the origin of the content.
yeah, and it doesn't get taken because a lot of hairstylists out there, our content is taken, and another company or brand will make a lot of money off of that content, and that creator is not giving any credit. So that's why the Branded Salon, they're just incredible with what they've been doing to protect us. And they also give us great opportunities to collab with other brands if you're available. There's a group of us working with them right now, and they're looking to expand. So
Oh my gosh, I'll have to learn more about that after the
yeah.
show and post that on my to my audience. So let's get into your start and your journey in hair, Katie. Where are you located, and how did hair find you? I say that because I don't think we find hair. I think it finds us because we all have a different path and how we got here, and it's
That's
just inevitable.
yeah, and my journey, it's a interesting story. So I'm
Yeah.
here in Denver, Colorado. I've been doing hair for almost 20 years now. Originally growing up, I thought I was gonna be a horse trainer. I started riding horses at the age of 3. I had dreams to go to El Mara, is in Arizona, Arabian horses, train them. I grew up in a very hard house. It was a rough
Mm.
upbringing. My mom was an alcoholic and my stepdad was abusive in every way. And horses, my best friend, her dad was our horse trainer. And so that was my escape. It was always horses. At horse shows, I was always the one braiding hair, doing makeup. I was always an artistic individual. I loved art. I was in art shows as my outlet. Then fast forward into high school, I got pregnant at 16 and I got emancipated and I got married at 16 and I ended up graduating early from high school. And I was training horses. The trainer that I worked underneath asked if I wanted to go pro. I was like, absolutely, I would love this. And I went pro and I was training. It was hard. It was 6 days a week, 10-hour days. And I had a baby and I had a husband and I
And
was,
you're 16 years old as all
yeah,
of this is
I
happening.
was 16 years old, 17-year-old, and then 18. It just hit a point where it was like, I have to do something else. I loved horses a lot and I had to do something else. And um, my oldest daughter's dad and I, we split and I started going to college. And I just had to take a big look and I was looking at veterinarian science, vet tech, everything I was looking at. But one thing that kept sticking out was even in high school before I got pregnant, I went and did a tour of a beauty school with one of my friends. And it always just kind of sat there, but it was the backup career. I hear that a lot from people. And my dad, when I was going to college, he was like, you know what? I think you should go to beauty school. And he was like, I don't think you have the brains for college. I think you should go to
Oh,
beauty school.
thanks,
And
Dad.
I think you should become a barber because you're pretty and you make a lot of money. It was a backhand, but
Uh,
he was paying for my
I mean,
college. So
you picked the right road for me. I'm not sure if your encouragement wasn't, your words were of encouragement or
yeah,
like, but okay, here we are.
yeah, that's where I was. And so I was like, well, if he's not going to help with college anymore, but he's willing to help pay for beauty school, I was like, okay. And I'm the type where if I do something, I'm going to do it to the fullest and I'm going to be the best. Just like when I got pregnant, I was like, she's my baby. I'm going to graduate. I'm going to be the top. And so I was like, let's go find. So I went to Aveda Institute downtown Denver, and I graduated top of my class. Then after that, I went and assisted for a Vidal Sassoon master stylist who actually worked for the Vidal. And then I went and worked at an Aveda salon. During that time, I was working for Charlie Price, who is iconic in our industry. He's one of the most nominated hairstylists. He's incredible. And so I hunted him down. I literally hunted him down, and he's here in Denver. And I assisted him for 4 years. And in that 4 years, I co-produced Denver Fashion Week. I worked at Naha. I worked with Beauty Underground. I became an educator for Redken. I really just like went as big as I could with him. And then I got pregnant with my second daughter and I didn't want to travel anymore. I
Yeah.
wanted to put my roots in and I was like, my oldest, I had to work to the bone and I want to enjoy being a mom. And so I went
And
from
how old is your oldest at this point?
my oldest, so my girls have a 12-year age gap.
I was going to say, because she's been on the ride. I had my son just 3 weeks into 19, and
Uh,
my oldest and my kids are 8 years apart, and I'm like, yeah, he grew up with me. He went
yep.
through everything. So I'm sure your daughter has that same experience.
It's funny you say that. My oldest daughter says that she got the McDonald's hair assistant mom, and my youngest gets the sushi master stylist mom.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you, my youngest is the one that, oh my God, the the one that struggles of the two, right? And I'm
Yep.
like, well, by the time I got to you, though, I had it all together. Like, what is the problem?
That's the truth. My oldest one she's like my rough and tough, like she's my girl. And then my youngest is like my emotions.
That you said it perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So you've got your two girls now. You've decided that you're no longer interested in traveling because now you have to get into full on mommy mode, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
And
where's your career taking you now?
so after I decided to stay home, originally I was an editorial stylist, cut editorial, that was life. Becoming home, hair color was always easy. And so I dove really deep into that. And then that's when I became a part of Masters of Balayage.
Oh,
I was more into that lived in color. It was having a moment. And I built a successful clientele, a six-figure clientele. And I
so
was,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you must know Ray.
yeah,
Okay, because I
yeah,
had
Ray,
him on as a
up here in Fort
Hornback.
Collins.
Hornback.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah.
worked for Masters of Balayage, and I think he's in Colorado as well.
He's in Colorado. We actually used to work together with Charlie Price at Denver Fashion Week. And so we run into each
Oh,
other all the time. He's awesome.
yeah, he was lovely. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
you're
he just
good.
popped into my head.
And so, I really developed that. And then I started filming everything I did. And in came COVID and everything shut down.
Mm.
And my husband, I've been with him since I was 21. We've been together forever. He had the corporate job. He also went to beauty school with me. But
Interesting.
that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing. But he had the corporate job, so he had the benefits, he had everything, but it was soul sucking. And I had built the dream clientele, and our youngest daughter, literally the year of COVID, she when she'd get sick, she'd turn blue and stop breathing, almost die.
Oh.
It was the scariest thing. And she got diagnosed with viral induced asthma. Even today, it's scary. She has to do breathing treatment.
Oh.
It's scary. And we're like, she's supposed to start school this year too with COVID. And then we're like, well, what do we do? What, we have to homeschool her. And I'm like, I'm not giving up. And he was so stressed out from work, he got shingles
Oh
all
my
over
God.
his face from it. It was rough. And so we took a leap of faith, and I told him to stay home. He quit his corporate job, and I was like, I have a great clientele. We're going to work this. And then and came my first influencer deal which was with Hairlocks Dream Catchers. They offered to pay me what essentially in a month my husband would make off of doing posts for them.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
that's when the light switch went off, and I'm like, social media is powerful. It can give you a really big reach. As a stylist, if you just put up a tripod and film everything you're doing,
And that's how they found you.
that's how they found me.
And how regularly were you posting prior to that? Because I know we all jumped on there in 2020, whether we were the content creator or the spectator.
Yeah, I would say, I think because of my career in Fashion Week, 10 years prior to that, or however long prior to that I was always posting. I had transitioned my portfolio from a paper in a binder to online. And I started
Mhm.
to see how beneficial it was to clients in my chair. And so I was always taking pictures of my work. And so it kind of been like a second nature to me leading up to that. And with getting that exposure from them, that led into me getting brand deals with, I was doing L'Oreal, Moroccan Oil. I was getting PR boxes. It was just this spiral, and I wrote it.
That's
And then that
incredible.
when Rusk, they reached out to me. They wanted me to
Oh,
become their Rusk and 10 specialist. This is when their 10-minute color came out. Everyone was
mhm.
doing that.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I was like, well, what can I do with gray coverage color? Because that's all it was kind of known for.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And so I turned it into all this stuff that you can do with 10-minute color. And I developed with Rusk. And I've been with them now almost, this is my 6th year. And I'm their global artistic director. I got that title this year. Last year I was their artistic director, artistic team before that. And then it was Rusk and 10 specialist before that.
Oh my gosh, you're just climbing your way up. This reminds me of Ashley Norman, kind
She's
of
awesome.
similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where she retired her husband. And I think this is amazing. This is so inspiring because, I created this show to inspire the next generation of beauty professionals. And this is the kind of story that just lights the fire right under someone's feet to
Yeah.
get them moving and and inspire,
Yeah,
you know?
agreed. And I think it's interesting because how I mentioned it's the backup. Back in the day, this was the backup career, a hairstylist you were looked down upon. And
100%.
I feel like now those of us at the level I am, like Ashley, we're paving the way. It's the cool thing. It's what people want to do. It's a career. I mean, making the same amount of money as an attorney, I mean, doing hair and being creative and living your life.
If you know how to manage your money, especially, you
Exactly.
know? Yeah, that's important, right?
Yeah.
And so on top of all of that, you're a 39-time
Yeah.
BTC One Shot nominee. That's huge. So what do those nominations mean to you?
Hopefully it means a win coming up here soon.
Yeah.
I think I actually have more nominations than that, but I just kind of took
Wow.
a general count, and I've gotten top 25 and I've gotten top 5. So hopefully this year, fingers crossed.
What did you enter? Which category?
I enter almost every category, I think, except for like men's and like avant-garde. Like blonde, balayage, red, brunette, education. This year I'm hitting the big shot. So I'm doing all my editorial work because I've been redoing all of my editorial stuff because I'm shooting with Charlie again because I'm wanting to get into this side again. So I think I'm hitting every category this year more so. So we'll see.
Well, that makes sense how you could tally up to 39 if you enter all of the categories. So
Yeah.
that makes perfect sense. So with all of the competitions and awards, do you still get nervous when you submit your work?
It's very interesting when it comes to getting on stage or in front of camera or submitting my work, there's no nerves. I never have nerves ever. I think it's the moment of waiting to hear if I'm called or if I did good. That's when the nerves kind of kick in.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Who wouldn't be nervous? Like, oh, this is your year. I say
I'm
you're going to win. I'm just going to put it out there.
put it
You
out
won.
there.
Yeah,
Man,
you won already. So what's your creative process like working on, editorial and these competition pieces? Like what's your approach?
Um, when it comes to like, I love the one shot awards for like behind the chair because it allows us to showcase like our work we actually do behind the chair. And so I already know the categories in my head. I know what clients have great hair, which ones are comfortable shooting. I mean, I have my blonde bob girl who gets me a top 25 every year and she brings me gifts because she's so excited. She's like, it's our year.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. I
so
love
that's
it.
what I do for that one. When it comes to editorial, it's a whole process. You got to put up a board. You have to have the theme. Like I had my most recent one. It was skies, sunset, sunrise, and a bluebird sky. That was my theme. And I picked out the makeup I wanted, the wardrobe I wanted, the background, the feel, the vibe. And then I go and I get the wigs because those are the easiest to work with, especially with editorial. And I treat it like I would when I would paint or draw. I just let whatever comes to me, I start flowing and working on the hair and create, and then working with incredibly talented makeup artists and photographers, they can really bounce and push you too. And so it's like a full process with it. It's probably the most gratifying thing to do. If you're a hairstylist behind the chair, just go do one. Even if it's just your own phone and your bestie, do a little shoot that you can do whatever you want on the hair, whatever makeup. And it's inspiring and fun and it brings it back behind the chair.
Oh, I love that. Have you ever taken a big creative risk that didn't go as planned? And if so, how did you handle that?
I don't know.
Because you do stage work,
Yeah.
you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and kudos to you if you've never had a
I'm sitting
moment.
here thinking, and I'm like, I don't want to jinx
No,
myself.
I love that. I mean, you don't hey, I love that you can't answer that question. Just keep that up. Keep that
Thank you.
keep that, track record going. What hair trends, Katie, are you excited about right now?
I would say color blocking. Color blocking is making a
It's
comeback.
back, huh?
Yeah, in a different sort of way where the placements are more lived in, but it's bold.
I remember color blocking in the late 90s.
Yep.
Mhm,
So it's making
mhm.
a comeback, but it's in a how I've been placing it too. It's more diffused where you have like your triangles placed underneath, like your lived in color. So you're having peekaboos of color, but when they pull their hair back or it's sectioned, it's lived in, it's melted. It's not a harsh line coming in.
Oh my gosh, I have so much. I'm gonna be stalking your Instagram from here to see if I can spot these things.
The little
Color is
peekaboos
just
of it.
fascinating. I don't deem myself a colorist at all. So I specialized in cutting pretty much the whole time.
Okay.
Because I came from Tony and Guy, right? We were
Ah,
departmentalized back then, kinda had to.
that's where my husband after beauty school, he was at Tony and Guy, so I get that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to the, academy in Colorado Springs. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's still there or not, probably not. I
I
don't even
don't
know if Tony and Guy is even a thing anymore,
Yeah,
is it?
one here in Denver got shut down probably like 2
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah. Okay, I'm gonna showcase a little bit of your work here before we move on,
Okay.
and I can't do music because of the copyrights.
I
It's
get it.
always a pain in the butt, so we'll
Yeah.
just have you walk us through.
Yeah. So this is actually my 22-year-old daughter that I'm working on right
Oh,
now.
how nice.
So this is Christian Michael hair extensions, K-tips. And the shield you see me using right there is, I feel like it's going to revolutionize the installs of K-tips. I feel like K-tips have been looked down upon because they're tedious, they're sticky, it's hard to work with. And this blue shield, how quick you can place them and how precise it makes that placement is amazing. And I feel like K-tips are so much customizable and better for the hair that it's gonna shake up the industry. And so I had no idea this little blue clip was gonna turn into this at all. The owner had sent it to me and I was like, sometimes I'm hesitant to do things like we are, but this right here is the first time of me using it and it's easy and it's incredible.
That's what I reached out to you after seeing this video
Uh-huh.
because I was like, that is the nuance, I would
Yep.
say,
Mhm.
of strand by strand type installs
Yep.
is the separation of the sections, you
Mhm.
know?
Yep.
And
And
so, yeah, you can probably how much time did it cut for you by using this tool?
so my daughter has an ungodly amount of hair. She has natural curly thick hair and this install took me about 3 hours. I would say if I didn't have the shield, it'd be about 5.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a big difference, and that looks beautiful.
It
Wow,
just
look at
blends
that
so
blend.
well. It's so much more natural and lighter on the hair, the K-tips are than the wefts. And they're better than the I-tips that you're constantly having to move up because the K-tips can stay in the hair, 4, 5 months, depending on care. So this is my baby right now. I'm excited for it. Like I even brought it today. I was like, I have the clip. It's going to be big for Christian Michael, and Christian Michael Hair Extensions is a hairstylist owned brand. The
Oh,
owner,
nice.
yeah, the owner, she does hair behind the chair. She cares about the feedback. She cares about how the hair is sourced. She wants to know the education we want. And that's what drew me in. I was with big corporate hair extension company prior, and the move is just, it's inspiring. It's inspiring
Let
to
me
be.
see that clip, show us the clip again.
There's the
Wow.
It's gonna change, and this is her baby. She's getting a patent on
Game
it right
changer.
now.
Oh,
Yeah.
she better, because the minute you show, all of a sudden, it's
Yeah.
everywhere, you know?
Everywhere. Yeah.
Mhm. And she's a hairdresser, you said, huh?
Yeah.
I love that. And is that all texture friendly, that
Mhm.
line?
Yes,
Yes.
all texture friendly. And something that I love that she does is because there's no way to get curly extensions that are done in a good way, to have the texture on them.
Mhm.
So she actually is a big advocate. She teaches how to perm them, how to get that texture. Like I
Oh,
was let down because I wanted to perm the ones you saw me putting in my daughter, but we just wanted to get them in ASAP. But having that curl, the texture is great for everybody.
oh, I love it. Okay, let's check this out.
So this is actually Tiffany right there is the owner who's working side by side with me. We are doing a no-sew install. So this is literally an install. It looks crazy. We're trying to make sure it looks crazy because it turns into gold. It takes
Yes.
about 15 minutes to install a row. This is for your thick-haired girlies that hair can hold it in there. And it's just like your typical weft, but an easier install.
Oh, this is just a regular weft?
That's a weft going through. Yep.
And how is that installed? How is it anchored?
So what we're using is you section the hair in a horseshoe section, and then you have a slice that goes above that section and a slice below, and we're taking her natural hair from underneath that weft and above the weft, and we're taking a bead and sliding it up. So you're not sewing it onto the hair, you're using the beads to anchor it on. And so that's why it's important to only do this on thick haired clients where their hair has that density to hold that weft in.
Gotcha. So bead alone is what's
Yep.
securing it.
Hmm.
Interesting. Okay. I love that. That's unique as well.
Yeah, it's
Good
great for
job.
those that, are on a budget, they can't afford, the big grand install, and that have thick hair. So it's a really cool new technique.
I love it. Okay. And what are we looking at here?
So this is Marlowe Beauty. I absolutely love Marlowe Beauty Supply. They're a distributor of Rusk. And this is me at their studios. This studio that they have, I taught a class there. That's Jessica. I love her. She assists me whenever I go out there. She's an incredibly talented artist. And so we did a class, and then after class, they'll have me shoot tons of content for them for commercials for their website, their YouTube, for all the products that they sell that are Rusk or anything that's not a competitor of Rusk that I can speak to for them. So I always love going out there. It's out in Detroit and it's a grand time. They really take good care of me there.
Oh my gosh, you are killing it out there. Man, I feel like a slacker. I'm just kidding. So let's talk about your just your popularity. It's crazy. I can see now why you've amassed a following of 123,000 or however many you may be at now. How do you find time to navigate social media as a stylist and an educator? Because I know doing both, it's
Hmm.
hard enough as a stylist
Hmm.
to do that photo shoot after the before, the afters, the perfect angles, the lighting, all of it, and you're doing that and then some.
Yeah.
How do you manage all of that?
Um, like I said, I think it's become second nature to me. I've been doing it since I
Mm,
was so early in my career.
mhm.
That my time management on it, and I don't want to say I'm a workaholic, but I'm a worker. If I'm
Yeah.
not working, it's bad. I feel guilty. And so
Ah,
even if I'm sitting down, my family knows if my phone is in my hand and I have my head down, I'm working. I'm editing photos, I'm editing reels. I just kind of become a machine, but it's also, I make sure that I put that phone down when it's time to put it down and take that time with the family
mhm.
and take that break. It's hard. But I think that's what has created my success is, I get on
And you're doing this all on your own. You don't have a social media manager or anything. You're your own manager.
my own manager. There's no assistant in my studio. I'm working behind the chair. I work full time for Rusk. I work full time for Christian Michael. And then my KDB hair. So it's a lot. And I'm the mom that wants to be hands on. I want to be there for my youngest daughter and everything she goes to, or else I feel so guilty. So it's a lot of time management. I literally have a planner when I wake up in the morning. It's your old school traditional written planner, and it has my month, and then it has my week, and then I literally have hour by hour by hour on what I do for the day. I sit down, I drink my coffee, I remind myself so I don't forget everything I have to get done. And then I have calendars and timers that set off and tell me kind of essentially what to do for the day.
Oh my gosh. That well, and how could you not have all of that and get all of that done?
Yeah.
That's why you work so efficiently.
Hmm.
Makes
Yes,
sense. How
it works.
smart.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you've been emancipated. I mean, you hit the ground running, and you're
Mhm.
still running. Like,
I-
this is probably feels better to you than just laying back and kicking back, doesn't it?
It does. And I think because I grew up so hard, I never
Mhm.
wanted to ever go without ever again in my life or ever have my daughters have that in their life. So I think that's like that trauma that I carry with me, but it's also helped
Mm.
push me to do better in my life. So
No,
it
I have a girlfriend that you literally mirror her life.
really,
Yeah, uh-huh. Her mom was an addict, and she became a mom at 15 on purpose.
oof.
Yeah. So she was like, I just needed a friend, something, and she is highly successful, as are
Wow.
her children and everything. So, yeah, I think that tenacity
Mhm.
that it creates when you grow up
Through that.
having to fend for yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, my daughter's name is Faith. And because I had to have faith in myself, I didn't have anything in life. And sorry, she's the only thing that gave
No,
me.
I feel it
Yeah.
coming through the screen.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my god, what an amazing mom.
they're my world, and I think they better me. And I think that's why I do everything for work. I mean, the coolest thing was bringing my oldest daughter. She's gorgeous and has great hair, but I took her to Premiere Orlando as a hair model. And she walked in backstage and she was like, "Oh, you're the real deal, mom." And so it was cool for my kid to see I can do this too. I'm a female. There doesn't have to be a role at home. I can do big things. We can do this. And so, I think that's what pushes my work ethic too and my time management is my girls.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're probably like Superwoman. You're, their hero, I am sure,
Yeah.
as you should be,
Thank
as
you.
you should be.
Thank
Oh,
you.
that's amazing. I love hearing women just out there killing it,
Thank
and we're strong,
Oh, we
all of us.
are. Yeah.
Yeah, so strong, and good on your husband too, that
Yes.
he can hold it down at home for you guys, and because that's also supporting your family as well. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
he's the best stay-at-home girl dad you can ask for. I mean, he went to hair school. He can do hair. I mean, in cosmetology school, I mean, he was there. He knows how to do facials. He knows how to wax. He knows how to do manis and pedis. So the girls are covered. And it's nice when I come home and I need to vent that he actually knows that I'm complaining why that 5N didn't take when I used yada, yada, yada. And he's like, oh,
Ah.
so it's nice to have him. And he's the most incredible person to have. He's the one that never gave up on me in life. He's been with me since I was 21, and he's been
He's
my
your rock.
he's my
Yeah, he's
rock.
your rock. Yeah, and oh my gosh, you just said something, it just clicked. You can vent to him, and he actually understands what you're talking about, and he can empathize
Mhm.
firsthand. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool. That's
it's really
unique.
cool.
I should
And
have had both of you on.
right. He's a fun one. I mean, and he sees it all. It's nice to have him. And he grew up totally different than me. He grew up in
Mm.
California. His dad was an attorney for Walt Disney. Different.
Mm.
And so when we come together, it's like yin and yang, and he's there for me through it all. And so I call him my trophy husband. He's my stay-at-home.
Ah, that's perfect. I love that. So, a lot of stylists struggle with staying booked and building a brand, such as you have done so amazingly. What advice would you give them?
I would say lean into social media. Back in the day, we had to hand out our cards and do a lot of footwork. If you market yourself correctly and look at it as a free
Mhm.
website and reach out and use that as your business card, you can grow, utilize, and you're
Mhm.
going to do a lot of free work. I did a lot of free work to grow that portfolio because you attract the clients you want by putting it out there. And so the clients I
Mhm.
wanted, I did free work on and I put them on my page, and that's what I brought in, and that made me happier behind the chair. I hate doing men's cuts. I don't offer them. So I make sure that I don't post any of them up, and I'm posting the work I want. And that's what you bring in. It's just like the energy you put out there. And it's having boundaries. It's having, you're going to have to get up and deal with some hard stuff to get better. You know, you're going to mess up. I still mess up. And I feel like there's a burnout every 4 years for a stylist. And
Yeah.
education and rebranding yourself like Madonna is so important to keep you going in this industry.
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, those are words of wisdom. And
Thank you.
you're absolutely right. I never thought about it, but every 4 years, you're right. I think I'm at that mark right now. So
We all go
just
through
keep
it.
reinventing yourself for sure. Are you gonna go to that behind the chair trends show up in Miami Beach end of
I
April?
will not be at that one. Nope.
You will not. Okay, that's the one my first one that I'm gonna do this year. I'm gonna go to that day show.
Nice.
Yeah. What are there any misconceptions about being an artistic director for a major brand that people have, do you think?
I think there's a lot. I think people, you get treated differently in good and bad
Mm,
ways. I get a lot of hate. I get more hate than I've ever dealt with. You know, I was using a board, a balayage board, and somebody told me I was a disgrace to the community and I should just go myself.
what?
Yeah, the comments and the stuff that people say is at a different level than what I dealt with when I was just me, you know, just regular. And it comes harder. And the hard thing too is I have to really watch myself and what I say and how I carry myself. I can't be fully me, which is understandable because I'm a face of a global brand.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And you
so
wanna pop off. You wanna
I,
pop off, but you can't.
yeah, you can't. And so I think it get the misconception is somebody might think I agree with something or disagree because I'm not speaking up. And that's because at this level you have to stay neutral. You know, I'm here to love everybody and I can't side and I have to.
How do you respond when someone leaves you a nasty comment like that? Do you just say, "Oh, thank you"? That's what my that's what I've heard others say, "Oh, thanks. Have a great day."
I tell them that they're so funny because it makes them mad and then they keep commenting and it helps my algorithm.
Oh my gosh, that part. There
They
you
get
go.
really, really, really upset and they're like, why are you laughing? And then I'll send happy emojis and they're like, what are you doing?
You're like, keep fanning the flame.
Yeah.
It's
And
only
that's,
helping me."
yeah, that's all I can do. There's a few times where I'll give it back to them, but it's like talking to a wall when somebody has
Mhm.
that much hate. I've never left a comment or gone to somebody and been negative. If I don't like it, keep going. And
You know,
so
you're right. Even if I've typed out something, I'm like, "Why am I doing this?"
I
You
know
know, what who
breathe
cares?
into it. And even if you did, that person, they're bringing that energy. They never listen. They're never going to listen. And it's reminding yourself that your energy is time and don't waste your time.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why when people with all the politics, I'm like, the people that don't agree with you, they're not even watching this. So it's like,
That's the truth
stop.
right there. Yeah,
It's
let it
just so
be.
silly. What's one lesson, Katie, from working in brand leadership that you wish more stylists knew before we move away from that topic?
Um, that's a good question. I think that it comes with a lot of responsibility and it comes with a lot of opportunity. It's something to aspire to, but knowing when you get there that you have to keep pushing and moving and grooving.
Well said. Yeah. What's the biggest mistake? Because this show I created again for the next generation of hair. And I always like to get those that have mama, I made it in this business
Yes.
to just kind of expound on this. What's the biggest mistake new stylists make, do you feel, when they're starting out? And if you could go back and tell young baby, I hate that we overuse baby in this business.
It's
Now it's
true though.
baby stylist. I'm like, when you were a newbie, what would you go back and tell yourself?
Um, don't let others use you because you are a baby stylist. Don't get walked all over. Use your voice and have boundaries because I was used nonstop and
Mm.
I wish I had my voice. I wish I didn't let people, just because they had high heels on and dressed fancy, intimidate me, because I didn't come up in that. Just learn who you are, be proud of who you are, and have those boundaries with salon owners, with education, with clients. If somebody's giving you a hard time, you do not have to take them. Your mental health is worth more. Um, just
When
do
you say used, what give me an example
Uh,
of
they've changed the laws here in Colorado, but in Colorado, as an assistant and junior stylist, they didn't have to pay you an hourly. You could just make commission. And so it was interesting that at the commission salon I worked at, I did shampoos, I swept, I cleaned. I really wasn't that busy. And that's because they got free labor from me, because the only time they had to pay me is when a client was in my chair.
wow.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's an old model
That's a
because I remember that in the mid 2000s for sure. You were
yeah.
commission only.
Yeah, they would
Mhm,
work you to the bone, and thank
mhm.
goodness they changed it where it's hourly or commission, whichever one's higher for the day is what they have to pay you now. And
Yeah, and to circle back on what you said about just because someone is in fancy clothes, don't discount yourself,
yeah,
and one thing that I'm finding now that I'm getting boots on the ground again, going to shows again, doing a lot of local shows when celebrity stylists come to Arizona, where I'm located, um, you see these people on Instagram or the social media, and I think you're getting their best because I'm going to tell you, um,
you're going.
I felt duped.
Yeah,
I would say so far,
yeah.
I've not been to a show
Mhm.
that panned out,
No.
based on that matched right what I saw on social media. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
this is it, huh? I have a feeling that's not you though. I
No,
know for sure
no.
you are not that, but I mean, I ain't gonna throw nobody under the bus, but I'm just saying. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
it's a big thing out there right now. I think it's all smoke and mirrors, because that's what social can be. And the
Mhm.
egos on these individuals, I just want to like pop them one by one, because I'm sick of them. It's smoke and mirrors, and they belittle stylists that are younger than them, or maybe even stylists that have
Mhm.
a lot, but if they don't look like them, they're not at their level, they're not going to talk to them. And
Yep.
they're a one hit wonder. And I hate to talk like that, but that's what is going on right now.
And that's the other thing, right? That, we had this I don't know, like these handcuffs on, I think, for the last 4 years, and
Mhm.
now the gloves are coming off
Mhm.
because you can't say anything, and
No.
it's like, but what I'm saying is the truth, so I
Mhm.
can't even tell the truth?
Yeah. Yeah.
The truth is the truth, and money spent is hard earned,
Hmm.
and so if I'm here to educate the next generation, I think it's important to tell them, don't believe the hype because it is hype. I know that firsthand. It's not my opinion. It's what my experience was, right? And so we should be able to talk about our experience because I think that's why they're able to do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And the minute
Absolutely.
people call you out though, and you're exposed, maybe it stops, is my point. Then I'll
Yeah.
get off my high horse.
Well, and I think right now it's interesting because I meet a lot of people. Like, I have stylists that cry when they meet me, and I'm like, why are they crying? They're like, Katie, it's you. I was like, oh, there's this fandom that has happened
Oh,
with
for sure.
stylists, and either they take it and they're good with it and they care for them, or they're like, haha, it's my ego. It pumps them up more, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, one of my nieces, I'm taking her to the show with me because she lives in Tampa. She's so excited, but she's been a stylist for like a couple of years or so. And she told me about an experience she had. I won't say the name. She paid her little money to go to a show, and she goes, and she was right there. And I just tried to say hi, and somebody jumped in front of me and like literally pushed her shoulder.
Hmm.
She's got to eat. It's like, okay, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's fine, like,
Yeah.
that's too bad.
Yeah.
So with all of that, where do you see our industry in the next 5 years? Where do you think we're headed?
I think there's a huge shift going on right now. There's a really
Mhm.
big shift. And I think it all stemmed from COVID. You know, we now have
Mhm.
virtual education at our hands in a way we never had. I would have loved it,
Yeah.
but it's too much. It's like a vomit, and you don't know what's good and what's not. And these poor baby stylists are trying to
Mhm.
decipher, oh, is this good? Is that not good? Because usually you would go to a brand, they were trained, you know that you're getting this education, and now you're seeing this. And so I think there's going to be a shift. And I call myself a hybrid. I'm someone that can get on stage, I can speak on camera, I can influence, I can do it all. And we need more of that. We need
Mhm.
influencers that are actually trained educators
Yeah.
and giving good education out. And I think they're getting feeded out little by little on who shouldn't be around
Good.
because they're not performing the numbers that they should be. Because a lot of these influencers, it's bots. It's all bots. It's bot followers,
Really?
bot likes. There's a lot of that going on. And so when those analytics stopped and those classes aren't being sold, it changes. And so I think there's a big shift. And I feel like we're gonna have a lot less education everywhere. It's not going to be so much in your face. And I'm hoping it'll be more accessible when it is and more professional and not cost an arm and a leg for the education in a mix. Because I feel like prior with brands, you would go and you take a class and they're just teaching you, because that's what they're supposed to, a product. And they're teaching you a technique you really wouldn't use behind the chair on many. So I'm hoping what I push for is a technique you can use on many with that brand and more beneficial. And I think the thing too is that hairstylists were looked at as a good career. We're
Yeah.
going to have much more elevated education, online academies, and opportunities that are legit and going to help the next generation come up. That's what I see a lot of.
You know what? That's perfect. That's a perfect segue into as we get to closing this out. Enrollments are down across the country with beauty
Mhm.
schools. And I'm
Yeah.
going to do a whole series on beauty school owners. So I'm excited about that. Do you see a world in hair where there are no beauty schools, a world where new and baby stylists, learn from social media, independent educators, and hands-on experience? Because I personally think you need both. I know a
Mhm.
lot of people are advocating, well, beauty school, you don't learn anything. And I've said this on the last couple of shows I've done. I
Mhm.
said, you don't learn real life experience because you're in school.
Yeah.
And I don't care what you're studying for,
Mhm.
even if you're studying to be a doctor, what
Mhm.
you're learning in school is not what not what your hands-on experience is going to be. However, that foundation still needed to be laid.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that's what beauty school is.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's interesting because my oldest daughter, her and I toured beauty schools because she wants to go and she wants to do hair. And I went to Aveda. It was disheartening to see the price that some of these
Mm.
schools are charging for what they're teaching.
Yeah,
And I think that's the issue. I know that's the issue.
gotcha.
I'm very fortunate at Aveda. The color theory, the hands-on, the technique, it's good. And that's where I want her to go. And I don't want her to go there because I went there. I went and I looked at these schools, and these students are paying the same that these Aveda students are. And they're just getting ripped off. And I think that
Hmm.
downside is what these schools are doing versus somewhere like Aveda. They have a bad rap because they're cultish, but they have great education, and that's what they are driving. And I don't foresee schools going away, but there needs to be a change and a shift, or else there is going to be a big shutdown. But the big shutdown and lack of enrollment are going to be on those ones that are charging a lot and they're not giving education and setting up their students for success. Versus somewhere like Aveda, they give you opportunities to go do New York Fashion Week, go to Europe for Paris Fashion Week. They do photo shoots with you. They set up career placement in other Aveda salons. Like, they really make sure they're setting you up for success. And I guarantee anyone with an Aveda name is going to get hired in at a salon versus somebody at another school. And that's the issues going on, is those other schools.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. That's for sure. And it has gotten really expensive,
Yeah.
like nearly 30 grand, which is
It's,
crazy to
it's
me.
insane. And I think that's what needs to be adjusted to. I mean, you look at a community college to get your associates, and that sort of thing. And I mean, if we're going to be looked at and paying that much, then absolutely we should be charging a lot more and we should be looked at different. It's a balance that's going to happen. And I think a lot of smaller beauty schools will go away. The bigger ones, like what Aveda's, will stay. They're trying to deregulate licenses. And I feel like if they do, they'll see the fire happen right away. There's going to be lawsuits, chemical burns, brand. It's going to be a shit show. And that's
and as a consumer, I would never want someone doing my hair that didn't have a license.
No, absolutely. And so I think, I mean, a lot of my color techniques and a lot of stuff I did is self-taught. And so I think you'll still see a lot of that is those that want to pursue hairdressing, they're going to go to their school. They're going to go. I'm an advocate for assisting because beauty school is your associates, and then you need to go in a commissioned salon where you can get your bachelor's, and then you can go off and get your master's. You need that education, or you're going to burn out. You're going to hate life. You're going to mess up hair so much that you don't know what you're doing.
All right, Katie, thank you so much. That was great. I mean, your story it deserved its own episode. Like, let's not even talk about hair. We could have talked about you this entire time. You have an amazing journey, and I know you're going to inspire the next generation. My generation, you inspired me, heck.
Thank you.
So your daughters are very lucky to have you as their mom.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love being on here. I've been starting to be put on a bunch of podcasts lately. So I'm like, I enjoy sharing this, and I think it's to help inspire. So I really, really appreciate you having me here today.
I do a fun game at the end because I am the game girl. I love games. So I do a rapid fire, 60-second blowout, I call it.
Okay.
So I'm going to pepper you with questions, and you answer them as quickly as you can because you know yourself very well.
Love it.
That's my guess. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And this is where I get to see for real.
Love
it. Yay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Love is Blind right now.
If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be?
JFK.
One hair product you can't live without.
Rusk 2-minute mask.
What's the last thing you Googled?
Why does my dog have diarrhea?
Balayage, vivid color, or extensions? Pick one.
Balayage.
If you could trade lives with any celebrity for a day, who would it be?
Oh gosh, Eminem.
What's the most unexpected thing in your bag right now?
I would say a Swiss Army knife.
What's a skill or hobby you wish you had time to learn?
A skill or a hobby. I want to say probably kickboxing.
Oh, I love it. And I like your answers. So I'm just going to finish asking you the questions. I mean, it's been a minute, but that's okay. And so would you rather always be 10 minutes late or 20 minutes early?
20 minutes early.
One thing on your bucket list you're dying to check off.
Go snowboard in Japan.
Oh, I'm going to Japan this summer. What's your go-to feel-good movie?
Harry Potter.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
To be invisible.
If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Spaghetti.
What's your dream vacation spot?
Snowboarding anywhere with lots and lots of powdery snow in the mountains.
I love it. And lastly, if your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Eminem, the 8 Mile song.
Oh, I love that. And to show us all how humble you are, make your silliest selfie face. Ooh, I like that one. The pucker. Thank you so much, Katie. Where can my audience find more of you?
You can find me on Instagram at KTB Hair. You can go to TikTok. Somebody has KTB Hair, so it's KT Brenner Hair. And then I'm on YouTube at KTB Hair and on Facebook, Katie Brenner Hair.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for coming in or on, and I will see you on the gram.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, bye.